Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And today we have some very interesting news of a new mode that's bringing a lot of highly requested changes to reality. The main ones being +1, -1 matchmaking, and then the banning of carriers or submarines from this mode. So that right there is two pretty big sticking points with a number of players in the community, or at least a very vocal group of players, shall we say, again, if you want to look back at Blast from the Past. But anyway, let's go ahead and go through this. This information is being released in a development blog. Link to it is in the description down below. So if you wish to read along as I read aloud, you can check out that link down there. And while you're down there, why don't you go ahead and drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Especially if you like to being kept in the know with all the news that comes out from Wargaming. This is, of course, a dev blog video, and if you want more of these videos and want to be made aware of when these videos go up, make sure you click that subscribe button. And leaving a like and comment helps on the algorithm, which of course appeases the YouTube overlords. Anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so this dev blog is titled Close Test Unbreakable Front. Hello, Captains. A familiar and now improved battle type enters close testing with volunteers. Unbreakable Front expands on the popular Unbreakable Line battle type, which featured ship respawns by bringing a deeper and more engaging all-around experience. Currently, it is in its final polishing stage, where rules, balance, and core mechanics are refined. Once close testing is complete, Unbreakable Front will be released as a temporary battle type in Update 15.1. So it's a further development of the Unbreakable line, which was a fan favorite mode. Why? Because you can just, Unga Boonga, smack W a few times and just drive toward the enemy team because, like they said, you can respawn. So let's take a look at what they've done with the mode. Gameplay includes the familiar foundation of Unbreakable Line. Teams of 7 players battle over key areas and ships return to battle with time-limited buffs. Points are earned by sinking enemies and capturing key areas. No points are lost when your ship is destroyed. I have very fond memories of playing the Unbreakable Line and, coming back into spawn at Mach Jesus with Apollo Emilio and, doing some YOLOs at 80 plus knots, which were ridiculously glorious. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what they have in store here with this further refined version of the Unbreakable Line. Alright, but there will be some significant changes inspired by your feedback. First, we are expanding the tiers of destroyers, cruisers, and battleships eligible for the battle type. So right there, no carriers, no submarines. We are free from the plague, if you will, right? According to, again, a very loud group of players. But further, tiers 8, 9, and 10 are now available, so it's no longer just tier 10. With matchmaking restricted to a 1-tier spread. So +1, -1 matchmaking. You cannot be double up tiered in the Unbreakable Front. That is huge, because obviously being a tier 8 ship in a tier 10 game is not a fun time, but being a tier 8 ship in a tier 9 game is a more enjoyable time, shall we say. This means that tier 8 ships can match with tier 8 and tier 9 ships, while tier 9 ships can match with tier 8, tier 9, and tier 10 ships. What is going to be really interesting is that, is there going to be enough players, are there going to be enough players, proper English, in this mode for this +1, -1 matchmaking to even work? Because that's, the excuse Wargaming gives, or I should say the reason Wargaming gives as to why +1, -1 matchmaking won't work in random battles is that, it's going to make wait times far too long, and most players, once you get over a minute waiting for a match, they're not going to sit there and wait much longer than that. So in order to keep, the wait times down, we have the +2, -2 matchmaking spread once you get over, tier 6. So that's the reason they give us, but now in this temporary mode, they're doing a +1, -1 matchmaking spread. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the wait times here. And again, with, like what happened with Blast from the Past, where that was another no CV, no sub mode, and a fairly, tier locked mode, yet no one played it. But this is, way different enough, I think, than the Blast from the Past mode to attract players to it. But anyway, let's keep going. So that's great. +1, -1 matchmaking, no CVs, no subs, just destroyers, cruisers, and battleships duking it out. Additionally, the maximum battle duration is now 15 minutes. It was, 12 minutes, I think, in the Unbreakable line? You may now choose your respawn sector. After destruction, you have several seconds to pick one of 3 sectors within your team's spawn zone, allowing you to re-enter at the optimal strike position and adapt to the shifting front line. I really like that, because especially, in this game where detection is everything, it's real easy, of course, for the team to, or the enemy team to get your team, corralled in a corner. So when you sink, you can now spawn somewhere else and, get behind the enemy team. And it keeps the match, more fresh and such. And they do some more interesting things here. So what I'm noticed from this giant image of this map that I'm looking at, there's some pretty interesting things going on here. So they're showing us, how you can select your respawn. It's the same system that we saw in the missile mode, the what is it, the shattered time mode or whatever, where once you die you can pick a grid point to respawn. Obviously this is on a much smaller map, but if you take a gander there, not only is there an A point and a D point, looks like the B and the C points are the cap zones from standard battles. So I wonder if you cap that's an insta win, because obviously that's how that works in standard battles. Same with the second image provided with the dev blog here. So this is potentially very interesting. See what they have to say. Sunken ships respawn inside the map boundaries, letting you return to the fight faster. That was different because before you would respawn outside the boundaries, and you'd very quickly be over the border because obviously with the huge engine boost you got when you came back. The maps now feature 4 objectives, 2 standard key areas in the center, and 2 bases, one near each team's spawn zone. Capturing the enemy base grants an instant victory. There we go, so I was right there. The combination of domination and standard modes create more tactical opportunities and ways to regain an advantage. That is very interesting, and I think that can have some good gameplay impacts, because of course, like in domination, it is possible for, one team to absolutely wipe out the other team, there to be a handful of ships left. But, obviously in that case, when they have 4 of the 4 objectives, and sure, you can go and maybe cap 1 objective, but they still very easily have the win. If it's a standard battle objective, what do they call them? Bases? Bases. If you, go and you touch their base, then suddenly, even though you're all dead, they goofed up, left their base vulnerable, and now you gotta watch it. You gotta get back there, because if that guy caps your base, even though you have, the A and the D cap, he's gonna win. I think that's also them trying to stop the Unga Bungaing as hard as it is normally occurring, or as it was normally occurring in the Unbreakable line, which that was a very fun part of the mode, don't get me wrong, but it was all Unga Bungaing, right? If that's the best way I can get that sentence to come out. So it's okay, yeah, you can still kind of smack W, but you gotta be a little bit careful, because, your base is still there, and obviously if the enemy team captures that, then it's all over. So that's cool. Oh, that's literally what they say here after that little blurb. For example, if the enemy team is ahead on points with both key areas captured, your stealthy, sneaky destroyer can still turn the tide by capturing the enemy base. It will require a coordinated effort or daring push, but by employing a different strategy, you could win the day. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, like I was saying. But on top of that, they're also adding in some consumables, which are kind of in the vein of what we see in the Pinata hunt and such. Unbreakable Front features 4 event consumables from the port. You'll be able to choose one of the 2 consumables available for a given ship type. The first one is called Forced Stalemate. The effect for this is the opposing team stops receiving points for captured key areas while the consumable is active, and this is available for destroyers and battleships. We've seen this before. I cannot recall right now what mode or when they were testing that consumable out, but I distinctly remember reading that before. So that's not a new one, but it's being reused. I mean, cool, whatever. So yeah, you can force the enemy team to just not get points for a short period of time. How long is it? I'd imagine 20, 30 seconds maybe. If it's over a minute or something, that's pretty wild. But obviously it's a pretty powerful consumable. Defense systems reduces all incoming damage to your ship for cruisers and battleships. We've seen that before too. That's like I think it is just called Defense Systems in Shattered Time. And obviously that's like the shield that we used to get in the Halloween event for the turret pits. So, okay, cool. Well, this reduces all incoming damage to your ship, doesn't stop it. So, yeah, I'm assuming it's working just like the one in Shattered Time. Consumable Reload. Reduces the reload time of all other available consumables on your ship. Okay, that's just for destroyers. And Ambush. Reduces your ship's visibility and increases maximum speed. That's just for cruisers. So, like, I could very much see slapping that on, like, my Ad Albert and just, rocking in there with, like, a 8 kilometers, 7 kilometer detection range going 40 or 50 knots. That seems like something that could be very interesting and very fun indeed. These consumables allow different combinations, thus expanding your gameplay options. For example, your team can initiate forced stalemate to stop the enemies from earning points while making a push for their base under the cover of defense systems. Very true. Okay, so this is a little more interesting, obviously leading into the more arcade side of things. And that is the end of the dev blog right there. So this mode sounds very arcadey, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Not laid back, but more, a little less high stress, because, when you only have one life, you're kind of, being a little more timid about everything. But when you can respawn, obviously you can, go for it. So it seems like they're, again, trying to tone back the Unga Bunga-ness of the Unbreakable line and add a little bit more depth. Well, I add a lot more depth into the mode. But I do like what they're trying to do here, make it a little bit more detailed, more tactical, reward teamwork, right? Because obviously coordinating these team consumables, event consumables can be a very, very powerful tool for your team if you can communicate, which is very hard for a lot of players to do, unfortunately, in today's World of Warships. So I do like the way this sounds. It sounds like a pretty fun mode. And, I mean, obviously, too, there's a very real chance that, despite Wargaming adding all of this in, the teams can still very much just Unga Bunga, right? Because think about, like, with Airship Escort and all the various modes that they've added in the game to try and, force a brawl to happen. You still have people sitting in the back and sniping. I mean, how many times have you guys played Brawls and there's someone that tries to snipe in Brawls, the mode called Brawls, and they're trying to snipe, right? There is, in fact, only so much Wargaming can do to, encourage a certain type of gameplay style. But I do like this. I like the way this sounds. This is currently being tested as a temporary mode, and probably that's where it's going to stay, obviously, with a 7v7 format. But that's good, adding in another temporary mode, at least to the temporary battles rotation. That's great. Wargaming, it's time for Airship Escort to get its time in the sun again. We've had a few months of asymmetric battles. I believe we can claw that away from the rabid fanboys of asymmetrics and give us our Airship Escort back. I really like the Airship Escort if you guys haven't been able to pick up on that yet. But yeah, this looks like good fun, and I cannot wait to hear more about it. Obviously, a mode that I do very much enjoy, as I do enjoy my brawlers and secondary battleships and my Ad Albert. So yeah, can't wait to see this get to the live client. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about the Unbreakable Front. Just let us know, are you excited or are you just kind of about it? Let us know all that and more in the comments down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, again, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and all that jazz. Hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday and wonderful rest of your week. And lastly, I hope to catch you guys in the next one.